Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. My name is NURAIN Binti ZULHISHAM. As planned, we are going to present our report for ARM Processor. So, please let me start with the first section in our report, which is the introduction. I am going to start with the introduction of ARM processors and then the definition of each keyword and lastly, the important idea in the report. For the introduction, ARM processor was formed in 1990 as advanced RISC machine with the principal CPU design method used in processors. There are more than 85 billion chips in the world. ARM is the leading supplier of RISC-based microprocessors and semiconductor intellectual property in the world. ARM does not make CPUs or other semiconductor devices. Instead, it licenses semiconductor cores as intellectual property to firms such as Philips, Samsung, and so on. Next, for the definition of each keyword, ARM stands for Advanced RISC Machine. A COTS RISC machine was the original for Advanced RISC Machine. It is a 32-bit instruction set processor architecture licenses worldwide, and it is the most widely used 32-bit instruction set on operating system. For example, ARM architecture is implemented on Apple, Android, and so on. ARM is a group of computing architecture for processors with a limited instruction set that can be modified for a variety of contexts. Lastly, the important idea in the report, ARM has a low power, low cost, and high efficiency processors. ARM processors are now used in practically every industry, including portable devices, consumer electronics, and automation. Most important thing, function of the ARM processors architecture in various computing and communications businesses such as smartphones, personal computers, and servers. Compared to other processors, ARM processors is the best among other processors such as Intel processors. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, NURAIN, for the good explanation. Hi and good morning, everyone. My name is NURAINUL AFIFAH Binti ABDUL. So, I am going to present the second section in this report, which is 2.0 Design and Architecture. So, this part is divided into two main parts, which is 2.1 Describe the focus idea of ARM processor and 2.2 Characteristic of ARM processor. I am going to present part 2.1 Describe the focus idea of ARM processor. So, the focus idea of ARM processor is that it is designed to execute a smaller number of different types of computer instructions in order to run at a faster pace, allowing them to process a million of instructions per second. ARM processor provide excellent output at a fraction of the power consumption of CICS complex instruction set computing devices by removing unnecessary instructions and optimizing pathway. ARM processors are widely used in consumer electronic devices that need less transistors, allowing for a smaller die size for the integrated circuitry (IC). The smaller size, lower complexity, and lower power consumption of ARM processors make them ideal for increasingly miniaturized applications. The ARM architecture is a collection of RISC computer processor architecture. The R in ARM stands for Reduced Instruction Set Computer, which is another acronym RISC. Its aim is to take advantage of simplicity efficiency by putting all the processor functionality on a single chip. By keeping a processor instruction set minimal, it can be programmed with fewer bits, resulting in lower memory consumption and faster execution cycle time. With billions of ARM-based devices delivered every year, from camera, wearable devices, and smartphones to supercomputer, it is most widely used processor architecture on the planet. ARM architecture is a veritable encyclopedia of features. Each type of processor core performs both basic and specialized functions. Each licensee or partner creates a design focus on its core series that fulfill its requirements. Thank you. That's all from me.
Thank you, Ainul. My name is SYAMIMI Binti Hamid. So I'm going to talk about 2.2 characteristics of an ARM processor. I want to describe 5 characteristics of an ARM processor. Reduced Instruction Set Computing (RISC) architecture, pipelines, time-60-bit instruction set, register, and lot store architecture. Firstly, the ARM core employs the RISC architecture. RISC is a design idea aimed at providing simple yet powerful instruction that can be performed in a single cycle at a high clock speed. Because it is simpler to give greater flexibility and intelligence in software than hardware, the RISC concept focuses on minimizing the complexity of instruction performed by hardware. As a result, a RISC architecture puts more strain on the compiler. Next, pipeline divide instruction processing into smaller parts that can be processed in parallel. By obtaining the net instruction while other instructions are decoded and performed, a pipeline speeds up execution. Instruction can be decoded at a single stage of the pipeline. Figure shows a three-stage pipeline. First step, fetch gets an instruction from memory. Second step, decoding identify the instruction to be executed. Third step, execution processes the instruction and write the result to the register. Time 60-bit instruction set. ARM improved the processor core by including a single 60-bit instruction set known as TAM, which allowed the ARM core to execute either 60-bit or 32-bit instruction. The 60-bit instruction increased code density by approximately 30% as compared to 32-bit fixed-length instruction. Next, to prevent a huge number of memory interactions, the ARM processor employs a high number of registers. Data and addresses are stored in registers. For all data processing activity, registers serve as the fast local memory storage. Lastly, log store architecture. The processor works with data stored in register. Using distinct log and store instruction, data is moved between the register bank and external memory. Since memory accessors are expensive, separating memory accessors from data processor gives a benefit because data item maintained in the register bank may be used several times without requiring numerous memory accessors. Thank you, that's all from me.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Siti FAQIHAH binti Muhammad Rosdi. Today I will talk about the third section in this report, which is 3.0 major performance. There are two parts in this section, which are 3.1 advantage of the ARM processor and 3.2 disadvantage of the ARM processor. I am going to present part 3.1 advantage of the ARM processor and our friends HAZWANI 3.2 disadvantage of the ARM processor. There are many advantages to the ARM processor. Firstly, energy efficiency. One of the advantages of using an ARM processor is its ability to provide good performance per watt. This is especially true for battery-operated device due to its energy efficient characteristic. The ARM processor is more energy efficient than other CPU. Devices running these chips are also less prone to overheating. Next, heterogeneous computing is a key feature of ARM architecture that enables it to provide low power and energy efficient computing. For instance, the component of a CPU can be divided among various processing capabilities, which can be used for different tasks. Hybrid computing is the process of building an architecture that works seamlessly across various CPU components. Lastly, upside of RISC architecture. Since the architecture of the ARM is based on reduced set instruction, it has the characteristic of RISC. This advantage includes a smaller number and better execution. Another advantage of reduced instruction computing is that it avoids using many parameterized functions, which can be time-consuming and complex to implement. Also, it uses a fixed number of instructions, which simplifies the pipelines. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi to everyone. Thank you, FAQIHAH, for the good explanation. Now it is my turn and I will talk about the second part in this section for 3.0 major performance, which is disadvantages of the ARM processor. First and foremost, the incompatibility of the software due to the complexity of the architecture and the lack of support for various functions. Compatibility is therefore a significant limitation of the ARM architecture, affecting its full adoption by computer manufacturers. It is difficult for large computer manufacturers to support x86. Programs or applications written in the x86 architecture do not run natively on ARM-enabled devices. Next, compatibility of programmers. It is important to note that the hardware-focused architecture of complex instruction sets computers, or CISC, is usually hardware-oriented, not software-oriented. Therefore, the performance of a processor depends on the skills of its programmers and the operating system. It is also important to note that low-quality instructions or codes can affect the performance of RISC-based processor. Lastly, drawbacks of RISC architecture. The disadvantages of both the ARM and RISC architecture are many. For example, the time advantage of RISC is less than the advantages of the same architecture. Also, the code size increases with the addition of additional instructions, while developing programs for the application compared to developing for x86-based system. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. My name is Nadiah Binti Rosli. Now I am going to conclude all of the information about the ARM processor. So to conclude our understanding for the ARM processor is that the ARM processor is one of a group of CPUs dependent on the RISC design created by advanced RISC machine. RISC processors are intended to play out fewer sorts of PC direction. ARM processors are broadly utilized in shopper electronic gadgets. In light of their decreased guidance sets, they require fewer semiconductors, which empower a more modest bite of the dust size for the incorporated hardware. Next, I am going to signify the importance of the ARM processor for current modern computers. There is much importance of the ARM processor for a current modern computer. The main thing is to comprehend about the ARM processor design place in any registering or correspondence market cell phones and PCs. In design, ARM-based devices also tend to be more lightweight and portable. The performance will be slightly reduced in some situations, but it is a worthwhile trade-off if you plan on using your laptop frequently while out and about or simply on the couch. Next, battery life is the place where ARM-based processors dominate. A more oversimplified CPU guidance sets and improve their reliability, outflank identical Intel control workstations around here. The most hotly contested arena for ARM processor is performance. In conclusion, there are still a few obstacles to defeat before most PC are pressing ARM processor rather than Intel or AMD chips. That's all from me. Thank you.